first mantle video got pretty good response, so I've decided we ought to have another one. Today we're going to talk about non-Coleman mantles. So I've got an assortment here of non-Coleman branded mantles. Here are some Peerless mantles. These are the 2C-HG. These are a replacement for the Coleman number 21s, so these will be useful in just about everything. You can use these for troubleshooting for a test mantle when you first start, or these would be right in like a 200 or a 220 or an AGM 2572, any of the single or dual mantle lanterns that are white gas or Coleman Fuel powered. Here's another Peerless mantle. Actually, these are branded Lancaster lanterns, but I'm given to understand that they come from the same place. This is a 24A. This is an excellent number 99 replacement. Here's the Type 111, it says. The Type 111 is a very large mantle. These would be good in like a 237 or a 236, one of the big 500 candle power mantles. This is the original Petromax, it says. The thing is that Petromax in the United States means bright light. The bright light people bought the rights to the Petromax name. However, that said, these are really good mantles. I've used these a lot. I've used them in my Wenzel, which you've seen before, and in my 237. I'm using one of these. They make a more bulb-like mantle when they're burnt in. They get that bulbous shape and then a narrower neck at the top. These are actually quite good mantles, and they're very, very rugged. And finally, this is branded Original Ada, and this is a two-ended tie mantle, so it ties at both ends. You need these for a Vapolux or any of that type of lantern. As far as I know, all of these, including the Petromax and the Ada mantles, are thorium coated. So thorium is a slightly radioactive element that fluoresces with heat, and that's how mantles work. The mantle takes the flame, it sort of holds the flame, cups the flame, and then the stuff, in this case thorium, on the outside of the mantle gives off light when it gets hot. Coleman mantles don't use thorium because, as I mentioned, thorium is a little bit radioactive, and people freak out about radioactivity, which is funny if you think back to the 50s when the atom was your friend. So people freak out about radioactivity, so Coleman doesn't want to use radioactivity because people feel bad about that, so they use yttrium with a Y. Yttrium is not radioactive, so people feel better about it. However, yttrium gives off a much more yellow light, so these will all be brighter. They'll all give off a more white light than Coleman mantles. As I mentioned in my last video, there's also the whole complaint by people that Coleman mantles are weak and that they're easy to put holes in. And although I did get a hole in a mantle in the last video, and I could have cut that out, I will point out in my defense. I don't have a particularly big problem. Maybe 1 out of 10 mantles gets a hole in it, and I don't think that that's a terribly unacceptable rate. These, with shipping, of course, are slightly more expensive than Coleman. So the Coleman mantles, I'm paying right on $1 for 4 at Walmart. These guys are about $1.25 for 4 plus shipping. It's $6 for a flat rate box, and you can cram a lot of these in a flat rate box from the U.S. Postal Service. So Peerless makes probably the best mantles you can get. These three here are probably the best mantles you can ever have, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend them to anybody. So Coleman covers their mantles with yttrium instead of thorium, and while yttrium is not radioactive, that's not to say it's good stuff. So when you're done messing with mantles, tying on mantles, moving them around in your mantle box and your mantle case or whatever, you should definitely wash your hands. And with any mantle, any of these, or even the yttrium ones, when you burn the mantle, when you first put it on the lantern, you should be real careful not to be inhaling the smoke. You shouldn't be doing this inside. Always burn off mantles outside. Even though it's not radioactive, not good for you. Not safe. Not any safer in any kind of real sense. Okay? That's your word on safety for today.